Thank you for tuning in to Koppen with Comic. I'm Brian Koppen, and we're here with comic Brian McGuinness. Brian McGuinness, how the hell are you?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Oh, man, thank you so much for coming in. I guess it's a little cold, but now you have a car right here.
Yeah, it's much easier sitting in your own warm car versus a super hot subway.
And so you're in a job where you don't even have to really leave the house at all?
Never. Yeah, okay. I'm a voice actor.
Dude, so how'd you get that gig?
Well, doing stand-up for 15 years, and that kind of opened doors, as you know, into other things, and axed around and started taking a few voiceover classes. I'm been with my agent since 2010, for 10 years.
And were the classes, the classes necessary or helpful?
It was. I didn't think it would be. I tried to avoid it for a while until someone was like, just take this one class. I took a class with a guy that was he's freaking phenomenal. He's one of the best casting directors. And I was like, oh, there's a lot more to this. Than
he's also the casting component that I should pay attention to.
Yeah, so he's very good at making it, understand the words a little better, what they're looking for. So I've been doing it since then. And here we are.
And then, what kind of stuff are you voiceover? Like, are you doing your voice over things like cartoons,
it's
or what?
Mostly commercials, TV and radio commercials.
Oh, you're the guy behind the pictures of the beautiful truck. You're the guy, built Ford tough.
The big one now is the Robitussin bear. Have you seen that one where I pop in the window? That's me. Yeah, so...
wait, you are the Robitussin bear?
I'm the bear, yes.
I can't believe it. I'm so close to fame.
Yeah, so that's been running for over a year, which is nice.
Wow, yeah, that must be a pretty nice gig.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did. I still get paid. I did it over a year and a half ago, and they still send me money. So.
And you believe in the product, too.
Oh, my God, Robitussin, #1.
And it's not for recreational uses. You should not drink 2 or 3 bottles, right?
Yeah, no, definitely
Okay,
not.
That won't lead to any, sort of robo-tripping or anything
It might. Robo-tripping sounds like something we're going to be doing 50 years from now.
Yeah.
With robots. Robo-tripping.
And that's and you're also doing some voiceovers for certain shows here at QED. Like, what kind of shows do you have coming up? I know you used to talk over video games and talk over movies.
We did one here for a while called Retro Bits, where me and TJ Del Reno, we would get really old bad retro games, Nintendo or Genesis or even Atari, and we would play them on the projector. The audience would play them. And myself and a few other comics would riff over them, just talk about how bad they're. Kind of like Mystery Science Theater, but with bad video games.
But the audience got to play while so you were talking shit whenever they got bit by the snake or whatever.
Usually they're so bad, sometimes it takes them 10 minutes to even figure out how to even work the controls. So that's the point of the show. It's like these are real games that were on Nintendo or something, but they're just terrible.
Yeah, and I recently saw the documentary Man vs. Snake, where I think there was an old school arcade game, and it was the first one to allow you to go to 1 billion points.
Yeah.
And did you see that documentary?
Yeah,
Did you know about that game?
Yeah.
And then, during the documentary, you found out that one of the competitors was playing a faster game.
Yeah.
And they looked at the hardware behind it, and they're like, see, this is the one part that made it go faster, and it's the only one not collecting dust, so we think he might have fucked with it.
Yeah, the famous one is King of Kong, where they get the Donkey Kong guys who are trying to get the record for that. Have you seen that one?
Oh, okay. No.
It's really interesting. And there's a villain, this guy Billy Mitchell. It's like, come on, it's just video games, And he cheated a couple of times, but it's like he's still clearly very good at Donkey Kong. Probably he used an emulator. It's not the same thing. It's basically the same thing.
Yeah,
but
let's give it to him. It's video games. It's not too serious.
Yeah, the official record book, he couldn't use what he was actually using. Or
is that the guy with the beard? Because he might have been
one
of the
really long
heads.
Yes, the long hair.
Beard and talking
he's the
heads.
Villain of video games.
He's just aging well with that colored beard.
It's great.
So what kind of stand-up gigs are you doing right now? What do you have coming up, and where can people find you online if they're not in New York City?
Yeah, my Twitter and Instagram is @LaughAtBrian. That was a good place.
You took it. My name's Brian too. I was going to do Laugh at Brian, but I was like, no, he's funnier. He got it first. He deserves it.
I'm doing the Brokerage with Christian Finnegan next week. I'm opening for him.
Oh, cool.
In Belmore, Long Island, on the 21st and 22nd.
Is Brokerage the place?
Yeah, it's called The Brokerage.
Okay.
It's a comedy club in Belmore.
Okay.
So
those are the shows you got coming up, and any other shows they can go to Laugh at Brian across social platforms?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we're going to talk real quick about why the old school is just obviously better, and we talked about video games, but things like...
You still got your flip phone.
Dude, I got a flip phone just for this podcast, really. I normally have an iPhone 15 or whatever they have. But what kind of stuff do you look back on and say that was just obviously superior to what's going on now? I know you mentioned beforehand, before the episode, old school hip hop and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and things like this. Why is the old shit so cool beyond nostalgia?
So I have a 4.5-year-old daughter.
Okay.
Me and my wife, and her toys now are terrible.
They're just too safe?
They're so cheap. So we got her the Frozen Castle for Christmas, right?
Nice, good.
Which is, it's 5 feet tall. I'm 6'6", so the thing is 5 feet tall and like 4 feet wide. It's enormous, right?
Wow.
She wanted it so bad. She barely touches it now, of course. It's February. She's done with
no.
it. I had the Eternia He-Man playset back when I was a kid. Do you remember that?
Is that the castle?
Not
I guess
Castle Grayskull.
I had Castle Grayskull. What is Eternia?
Everyone had that.
Yeah.
Eternia was 3 things in one. It had 3 giant towers, and like a Castle Grayskull had a big thing in the middle, and then a snake pit, which was like, Hordak's lair, whatever it was.
Wow.
And it had this motorized track around the whole entire thing. You could put your figures in there. It was the coolest friggin' toy in the world.
Yeah.
And that thing is like, that's made well. It's like, it was just great. Those old Transformers made of like freaking hard ass metal.
Yeah.
Right? So her stuff now is so cheap, and my wife's like, I still have my original Ninja Turtle figures. I have every single one in a case.
Is she playing? Oh, so she can't even play with them.
I gave her some extras that I had. So,
oh, good. Good.
But and my wife's like, we got to save her toys too. They'll be rare one day. I'm like, no, her stuff's garbage. Like, it's not going to be worth what my things are worth.
And is it just because they outsource production to
I don't know
China or whatever?
They're just not as cool. That maybe because they're just churning these things out so fast, and there's so many things to do. But
and they know she'll be done with it in a couple months anyway, so you might as well go for Frozen 3 or whatever is coming up now.
Yes, but the old toys are just fun. I think maybe that's why my nostalgia is from having her wanting to really thrives mine. I want to play with all my old stuff now, or set it up, whatever, and show her everything.
And are you able to buy Eternia on something like eBay or something?
Okay, so the comic store near me in Forest Hills, Royal Collectibles, someone just gave them one, like sold one to them. It was complete in the box. The guy apparently, his parents, they told me the story. His parents got it from when he was a kid for Christmas. They said, "We'll give it to you on Christmas if you're a good boy." He wasn't a good boy, apparently. So they left it in the attic. They said, maybe next year.
No.
Next year came along, same thing, and they didn't give it to him. And they just forgot about it. So 30 years later, this guy, he had it, and he sold it to the store, and they sold it for $2,500.
So yeah, I thought the end of that story would be, and I bought it for
$100. If I had a little extra buck, I was like, I wanted it so bad. It was the coolest toy in the world.
I just love how tragic it is, though, that the guy was like, I never was a good boy.
I wasn't a good boy.
I didn't even open it myself. But I guess at some point you lose interest, or you realize it's a collectible.
They just forgot, And there was apparently like claw marks on the box. Like, he was trying to open it one time, so the box was a little ruined, but inside it was still sealed in plastic, which is crazy to find one of those. Because people sell just the boxes at cons for like a few $100, like just the empty box.
Why?
Because it's a collectible. Sometimes they'll have the actual toy, but not in the box, so they'll sell just the box sometimes.
Oh my Lord! Yeah, you sell it for parts. You know, I have
it's the same thing.
Skeletor's head from this year, and you're like, I'm gonna pair it. And I think in young adult, Patton Oswalt had that part where he still was like taking He-Man characters and like pairing them with G.I. Joes and things like that. Yeah. But and then onto music, kind of what. Why does music today suck in relation to old school hip hop, which you think is just, I agree, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
But, I think I listen to enough new music where I can say some of this stands up to the shittier old stuff.
Okay.
Because there's obviously a couple rhymes that are a little silly.
Yeah. I'm a big old school hip hop fan, like the late 80s to early 90s, De La Soul, Tribe, NWA, Snoop, things like that.
Just a little bit more funky.
I liked everything. I liked the stuff here at the East Coast. I also liked the hard Ice Cube NWA stuff, so I liked it all. The mumble rap stuff is just, it's so stupid now, I think. I don't know why kids like it. It's just, it's the same, it's like over and over again.
Yeah, you can listen to, the same song 100 times and you're like, oh, that was 100 different people.
It's just like, I don't know what it is about today, but it's very easy rap, I think.
So almost you could do it. You could spoof it and just like, it sounds like you know the rhythm. You're a voice actor.
That's all it is.
You have the materials at home, probably.
Am I going to do a rap career now?
Yeah. I mean, you totally look the part. I mean, I think that you come off just hard as hell.
Tall white dude.
Yeah, Brian McGuinness. And so what are some, now, the old stuff that you're mentioning, it sounds like it has a musical component that's pretty amazing. Like some of that stuff took samples that probably would have cost a lot to clear these days. I almost think like Beastie Boys, they said Paul's Boutique couldn't have been made these days because they didn't even wait to clear the samples or something like that.
Well, De La Soul they're my favorite group of all time. They never got paid ever for their first album, which was a masterpiece because Prince Paul, who was their producer, revolutionized sampling and sampled a million different things.
Yeah.
Tommy Boy, the label, they didn't think was going to be a big record, so they were just like, we're not going to clear the samples. Who cares?
Yeah.
It ended up being a huge album.
And so you do it after the fact,
So
and you pay an arm and a leg.
Yeah,
and you
so
don't
they
get any
never
money.
did. So they've been getting not sued, but like this one band, the Turtles. They took one of the old bands from the '60s or whatever.
Sure.
They sampled something and they tried to sue them and whatever. And they were 18, 19 years old getting sued by this band. Like, what happened? We don't know what's going
And
on.
who the fuck are the Turtles?
Yeah,
and why are they
right?
so litigious?
Yeah. So they've been fighting with Tommy Boy for basically 30 years, and they just finally gave up because Tommy Boy wasn't budging and they wouldn't sell them the rights back to the music. The first 3 albums, which were some of the 3 best rap albums of all time, they never got paid. They never got made a dime off of them.
Is that the one out of New Jersey that came up with was it rapper? I don't know if it was Rapper's Delight, but they pretty much I think there was a New Jersey label who put together a group that pretty much ripped off everything that was going on in Harlem.
That
and
happened
that's
a
the
lot,
group that
yeah.
got huge.
Yeah.
Like I almost think that might have been Rapper's Delight or something. And
They were
like,
sold, all that stuff. But De La Soul's from Long Island, from Massapequa.
okay. I wonder if Tommy Boy
Amityville.
was the shitty label. But
They're still around, so
Okay.
and they've had a really good career. This is just De La Soul. What happened to them? Like it's crazy.
and I think even Richard Ashcroft from The Verve finally got royalties from that Bittersweet Symphony song from the Rolling Stones.
Yeah?
And so he just ripped off, like, it was just that symphonic rip from, I don't even know if Keith Richards wrote it, but they finally were like, you get some royalties, but also your name's on it. He's like, thank God, now I have kids, I can tell them that my career amounted to something.
It's a weird thing nowadays. You hear like, oh, Taylor Swift got 4 billion streams and made 40 cents. It's like, what? How are people even living nowadays? Like, Metallica was right back when they were complaining about Napster back in the day.
Yeah.
They saw this coming. The money's not there anymore.
And meanwhile, you're on Spotify too. You're on Spotify probably?
I don't use Spotify ever.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so do you buy things? I mean,
I do still buy albums.
Okay.
Like digitally now though.
Okay.
I still have all my CDs in a box, but
Okay.
I do buy. I try to support, especially if it's a band I really like. I'll stream stuff like with my Google Play account,
Okay.
which we have that, but otherwise I'll buy it.
And if you're not listening to new school hip hop or whatever, what are you listening to that's contemporary, if anything?
I feel like
It's obviously Taylor Swift because you just name checked the 40 cents she made.
feel
I'm
like-
pretty sure you listen to her.
all I listen to is my kids' playlist. I think she loves her soundtracks, her Disney music, but
And that gets old. Is there any
so
way
old.
to make kids' music suck less? I think Portlandia had a sketch on, just like, some hipsters who were like, oh, it can be progressive. And is there any kids' music that's actually good?
I don't know. You know what? Maybe at first, but once you hear it 7,000 times, you're like, I know all of her music. I barely know the lyrics to my songs, but I know all of hers because I hear them all the time.
And
she just loves her crappy music, and you know what? That's fine.
And even some of
You got to
the songs-
sacrifice as a dad.
Oh, yeah, I mean, as long as she's happy and she's not keeping you awake, you're probably fine. And even some of the songs back in the day, though, because they were so long, I remember like Ice-T had New Jack,
New Jack Hustler.
Nino's theme, and it was like 12 minutes of just godlike rap, and it was amazing. But you couldn't listen to that 5 times in a row and not get sick of it too.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
There's some songs like my favorite song ever is from Tribe is Electric Relaxation. That's my favorite song from Tribe Called Quest.
Okay.
And I can listen to that just if that ever comes on shuffle or random, I never skip it. It's one of those songs that just puts me at ease. Makes me smile,
And do you dance to that stuff? Did you have hip hop dances back in the day, and do you bust one out now?
I don't think I do. I just kind of bob the head, I think.
And is any of that making its way into your stand-up? So I mean, I know you do voiceover, but what kind of stuff is making its way into your stand-up act? Are you talking about having kids?
Yeah, it's a bunch about her and the wife, of course. My stand-up never. I always say I don't make you think at all. I just want you to laugh. Like some comics try to. I'm going to make this crowd think and change their opinions on life. It's like, no, that's not our job. Our job is just to make you chuckle or giggle a couple times and hopefully, leave smiling. But
and is there anything you did early on in your stand-up career that was making fun of having kids, and now you're like, I can't even tell that stuff on stage anymore?
I don't think so, because a lot of it was just personal observations or experiences of mine. So not having kids, I probably would have made a joke about it. Like, I'm not going to do the hacky, stuff that people talk about. Like, my wife sucks. Nothing like that,
And how do you make sure that your current stuff about kids is not hacky? Because like right now, Huffington Post will aggregate, 50 tweets about fatherhood or motherhood or having kids, and it's like, and they're now doing it where it's 50 things about a 5-year-old, 50 tweets about a 6-year-old, and they're all funny, but they all follow a form. Kind of, kids, kids are unpredictable, they're inconsistent, they are selfish, they don't, they are the depriver of sleep. Kind of, how can you make sure that your stuff is original?
That's a good question. I wouldn't base my comedy off of what HuffPost says. That's the first thing. But
it's also what not to do.
Yeah.
Meaning like if everybody
if they
is
think it's
doing-
funny, it's probably not. It's like
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like I think, and I still go to like watching Christian or watching the pro comics. I still go out and when I have nothing to do, I will go to a club and just watch the top people and see what they're doing, and not just get ideas, just to be like,
Right.
this is what's good right now.
Okay.
And you see the hacky stuff too, so don't do that.
Yeah, and are some of the things original about fatherhood based on the uniqueness of your own kid?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
And my life and the way we raise her and everything, just our living situation in general. My wife's a teacher. I stay home all day, so I'm with the kid when she's home from school. So there's a lot of that is different, I think, for most people. So it is just about how unique it is. Of course, there's probably general ideas that everyone can relate to, but then what makes it different? That's just any joke in general. Like people can relate to the setup, but then what makes a punchline different? Or I didn't see that coming. That's a different take. That's
it has to be surprising enough to laugh.
Yeah, that's all we're trying to do. And it's never just like, so she said this the other day. I don't really like that's more like a Facebook post, but an actual bit on stage is something more like probably just more in depth and original, but I guess
and idiosyncratic enough because it's your unique kid,
and also people can relate to it.
I think. So they'll totally relate to it. But yeah, it's nice that you're also surprising them. And does your daughter know that you're the Robitussin Bear?
Yeah, actually she does.
Is it amazing? Like my dad is the Robitussin Bear.
Because the first time she saw it, she just kind of stopped and looked at me like, just kind of like, what the fuck, And then we saw another commercial it was like a insurance commercial where the bear walks through a living. It's not me, but a bear walks through the living room, and she goes, "Is that you?" And I was like, "Oh, you think I'm every bear?"
Every bear from now
adorable,
on. It's going to be Brian McGuinness. So make sure when you're looking at these things, you are keeping in mind that Brian McGuinness probably voiced over your favorite character, right?
Maybe. I mean,
because he took that one class,
and
it just all went from there.
Yeah.
And then they can find you at Laughing at Brian.
Laugh at Brian.
Laugh at Brian across all social platforms. You have shows coming up with Christian, but also without. And one of them is in Long Island.
Yeah, at Belmore at the Brokerage. We're doing a retro bits. Actually, that show that I was talking, the video game one at March 3rd.
And that's here at QED?
OS Gamer Lounge downtown on Bowery.
Is that all games and shit?
Yeah, so we're
like ping pong and sorry, what are those things? You pull them back. What the fuck are those?
Pinball?
Thank you. Yeah, pinball is correct. Yeah,
so we have a huge screen there. It's a big gamer lounge just opened up a few months ago downtown. It's awesome, and they have tons of monitors and streaming booths, all stuff. We set up on the projector, play some crappy games, and have a good time.
Now, if I just went there and just played the games, would I be able to overhear your comedy?
You could, yeah. Okay. So you'll be able to hear us. I just make sure it's March 30th. I think. Or let me just double check that there. Yeah, March 3rd at 8 p.m. It's OS Gamer Lounge. But yeah, we were trying to do it on a night when they don't have other Smash Brothers tournaments, so people can actually just hang out and watch us.
They also have those though.
They have a lot of stuff. They have 2K tournaments, Smash Brothers, Overwatch, all that stuff.
Dude, that place is going to be too small too soon because those things are now like stadiums. I know, right?
And it's big. It's a really cool. The people that run it are great. They're just let's do whatever. They're down for just trying different things. So.
Well, I think the new goal in the second stage of your career has to be doing retro bits in front of a whole stadium of these gamers.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, knock on wood.
Let's do it. That'd be fun.
Laugh at Brian. Brian McGuinness, thank you so much for coming in.
Dude, thanks, man.